Hello everyone and welcome back to another Chris video. So in the previous video I went and showed you guys an accessible team that used none of the new batch, no units like Nami and Carina, which some people may not have. But this video I'm going to show you guys a team that's much higher damage and of course gives you a dupe drop with Nami and Carina as a captain. So this team is a lot more reliable, the last team was a lot more accessible. But this team we are using very interesting characters like Treasure Map, Frankie, who have very helpful abilities for this specific intrusion. Now, two gimmicks that this boss has is defense up and a bunch of chain lock and chain boundary reducing effects. So they want you to have a chain boundary and chain lock to get around the chain minimum attack down and the weak chain lock on the final stage, but they prevent you from having that effect by reducing it by 2 turns. So we need ways to extend it to last until the final stage to prevent us from getting that chain lock or chain boundary effect. And this treasure map, Frankie, who they've so nicely boosted, is going to both reduce the defense up and also extend our chain locks by a turn. So this unit's very helpful. So we're going to use that character in tandem with Kikinojo and Izo. This character provides a 3-turn, 3.5x chain lock. It's high enough of a chain lock to bypass the chain minimum attack down, and it's 3 turns, so even though the intimidation will reduce it by 2 turns, it will still persist. It will be at 1 turn after the preemptive attack, or the intimidation effect kicks in. And then we can use Frankie, who will give a extension of it for 1 turn, allowing it to last for 2 turns. Now you may be thinking that will not last until the final stage, or for the final stage, should I say. It will last until the final stage though, because after you kill stage 2, a turn will pass, so the chain lock will become 1 turn, but following that, it will still be there for the enemy's preemptive on the final stage, meaning that since we have an existing chain lock effect, we won't get inflicted with the chain lock, the very weak 1.1x 12 turn chain lock on the final stage. We won't get that. And after the preemptive, another turn will pass and our chain lock will go away. So we won't have that chain lock on the final stage, so we'll still have to find a way to get around the chain minimum attack down on the final stage and give us chain in that way. But at least Kikinojo and Izo will have allowed us to get around the very weak chain lock, which is what we really have to worry about. So stage 2, Kikinojo Izo, special for chain lock. Then use Frankie for an extension and reducing the enemy's defense up. We can use Ryokyugyu to provide us an orb boost, as well as a full ward of dex orbs through the block orbs. This is very important, as it will allow us to get around the 2 dex orb barrier. Besides that, we can also use Nami and Carina's super swap effect, swapping into their quick form. Make sure you start off in their strength form so that you super swap into their quick form on the second stage. Because we're going to swap again back into their strength form on the final stage, so that we're in Nami's form, who will reduce the enemy's resilience on the final stage by 6 turns. So it's very important that everything happens in a specific sequence. You need to make sure that you're using the super swap of Nami and Carina on stage 2 after Ryokyugyu, otherwise your G-orbs will get shuffled away. The reason we want those G-orbs is that the enemy has a effect that states that your type orbs, Winer orbs, rainbow orbs, and recovery orbs will all be weak. They will cause the character to deal 30% less damage. Now that isn't too considerable, but for a high damage team that is practical, this is still something to be considered. Luckily, G-orbs as well as tandem orbs are not listed there. So Nami and Carina, their super swap provides their adjacent characters G-orbs. So both our Ryokyugyu and our friend Captain Sabo, who are dex characters with type advantage, will deal a lot of damage. And then your Kikinojo Izo, your Blackbeard, and your Frankie will all have dex orbs, so you can use them to get past the orb barrier. So it's very important that you first use Ryokyugyu, then Nami and Carina. If you use Ryokyugyu after Nami Carina, your G-orbs will be shuffled away. And of course, make sure you're using Frankie after Kikinojo Izo for the chain lock extension. And then Blackbeard on the final stage, who will allow us to get the chain lock, or chain boundary effect, should I say, to get around the chain minimum attack down. So in actuality, any chain boundary or chain locking unit can replace Blackbeard. So that just improves the accessibility of this team. You don't need Blackbeard, who is a treasure map legend. Any chain lock or chain boundary units will work to get around the chain minimum attack down. Of course, you can't use treasure map Carrot and Nami for chain boundary, since of course we are using a Nami here, but I'm pretty sure there are a few other options. Let me just see who they are. Any chain boundary unit. You can use Crocodile here, treasure map Crocodile. You could also use Kaku and Lucci, who I used on my previous team's video, but of course we are running different units this time. You can also use treasure map Legend Jumbe, a lot of options here. You can use the treasure map free-to-play Sabo, this also works. Yeah, it's very lenient, you don't need Blackbeard. He's literally just there for the chain boundary effect. And then Nami, as I said, you swap back into Nami, get some G orbs, get the resilience reduction from using the special in Nami's form. You can use your friend Captain Sabo to reduce the chain coefficient reduction and give you a chain growth rate buff. So of course, it would be beneficial if you are going to replace Blackbeard, use a chain boundary unit instead of a chain locker, because it will allow you to get access to the chain growth rate buff. And of course, the Doflamingo support is not required, but it will help you with damage, giving you a chain boost buff. That's about it. There's literally no need for a ship. Any ship will work. Our units, of course, are boosted, so they don't need the cooldown. I was initially going to use this ship here, which is going to extend our chain locks by a turn, but you need one of every class, and I did use that in the previous video. This is an effect you get from level 12. You don't even need the mods, but of course one of every class is such a heavy restriction, and at the end of the day you really don't need that extra turn. Ikinojo and Izo and Frankie to extend it is enough. Either way, the Blackbeard chain boundary effect is much stronger than a chain lock from Izo and Kiko. So yeah, any ship will work. And you don't really have to worry about starting off Nami Carina in their strength form, but it will help because on the final stage, if you can give your Sabo a G orb, it's going to be much stronger, because you have to remember Nami and Carina's captain effect is much weaker if you don't have a G orb. It goes from a 4x to a 5x. So having Sabo with a G orb will significantly increase your multipliers. And G orbs, even though they're usually only a 1.5x damage multiplier increase instead of a 2x from a regular matching orb, Nami and Carina's swap effect changes the modifier up to a 2x, and you also get a base attack boost in addition to that, so you just get a lot of buffs from that. Actually, when you use the super swap effect on stage 2, it'll give you a 3-turn 800 base attack boost and a 2.25x increase in the G orb multiplier, so that'll last until the final stage, and our G orbs will be even better than regular matching orbs. But either way, you won't have an attack or orb boost on the final stage, which may be a bit of a problem, but you have so many other damage boosting effects, I really wouldn't worry about it too much. But that's about it for the team. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or replacements you need, ask them down below. This team is very flexible, and I think that's what's really good about it. Blackbeard is literally so replaceable. Frankie is such a niche character that works so well. Ryokugyu, I also really wanted to use this guy because I don't think I've ever used him since his debut treasure map. But yeah, he's probably replaceable. Any unit that gives you matching orbs. You could use like another Dex character, and then someone who's a Dex unit who gives a full board of matching orbs, and that'll give your Sabo and that unit a Dex orb, and then you can bypass the barrier. But the main reason why he's so good is that he also gives you an orb boost, so he's very reliable. But that's about it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, and I'm out.